It's Friday night. Friday night at Kirks Grocery. Every Friday night at Kirks Grocery, we are bringing you either a tour or a feature of some artists who are part of the gallery. Come on inside.
Hey, welcome to Kirks. You came back Friday night, 7 p.m. We're here again. Today we're going to look at some work by Rossco, a Billings artist here, native Billings artist. Great guy. We're also going to look at work by Renee, Audette, and we are also going to look at some work by Hank Williams Fuller, all residents of Billings, Montana.
We've got Bryson says, yay!
Yeah,
Two
Bryson.
viewers right now and a few hearts.
So we're going to kind of walk through this first gallery. Mary might show you around it. This is posted up on our Kirks Grocery YouTube channel. We did a walkthrough of these galleries last week, and you can definitely see that at Kirks Grocery on YouTube, or you can go to our website, kirksgrocery.com, and there'll be an icon to click on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or anything like that.
Chris Martin is on. We also have LB, who's been part of every single one of these tours. What's up, LB? What's up, pups? He's such a good boy. We've got 7 people watching right now.
So yeah, we're going to walk through, curate, instigate here as we head towards the back where I've set up for our tour today. We're going to start today
Chris is on.
with looking at work by Hank Williams Fuller. Hank is an artist here in Billings. He's about my height, so we're moving in on that giant territory. And he just introduced himself, came in, said, hey, I'm a local artist. Originally came in the month of October. We had his work back then. He makes some kind of creepy, spooky stuff. Today we're looking at more landscape paintings by him than that, but we do have a carved snake and an eye box that he's made.
Ooh, when you say eye box, you mean the letter I or like the human eye?
The human eye.
An eye box. Suspense.
So I'll tell you a little bit about Hank. Hank gave me a little bio. Let's start with that. He's a Billings native. He's always enjoyed looking at and creating art. The creative process helps me keep my feet on the ground and my head in the clouds, which he paints the ground and the clouds, so that works good for Hank. My paintings and sculptures are representative of my direct association with my immediate surroundings, from the cottonwood roots and the banks of the Yellowstone River to the intense blue of our big sky. As you look to the top of the rim rocks, my last best place is my loved space. That's from Hank Williams Fuller. We're going to start by looking at his work, which is right around this corner here. This first piece up, I'm going to get over here so my hat doesn't put a shadow on it. So we might have some problems with glare. These are all behind glass. And one thing to tell you is Hank does make all his own frames. So he paints these, he's a woodworker, and he builds all these frames. And a lot of the work at Kirks, if you ever do want framed, we can hire him to build you a frame. Now this piece here by Hank Williams Fuller, it is called Driftin' and Driftin', and it's $175. This is an acrylic painting on rag board, and it's mounted to acid-free foam core. And then that is behind glass on a homemade frame that he has purchased. Hank signs all his work, and he also writes on the back the information. And yeah, so this one's $175, great piece. And if you've been to Billings, Montana, we're about to see a bunch of work that looks like the rims, which surrounds our city, cliffs. And that is right over here. This is kind of like really what Billings looks like if you head north of town.
The Magic City.
Yes. So this piece here is the largest one of this style today and in this series. It is called Sandstone Swirl. It's $225. Like the other one, it is acrylic on rag board and then mounted on acid-free foam core. And once again, we have that nice blonde frame that he has built. You know what I like about his landscapes a lot is, you can definitely tell they look like Billings. But then also, they always have this kind of psychedelic element to them. I know he likes to call his work magic realism. There's faces in there, strange shadows, hieroglyphics. When you're staring at clouds or you're staring at these sandstone cliffs around us, you see faces in there, and he kind of paints that in there as well. So there's multiple layers to Hank's paintings. here.
Yes. Let's come back. Speaking of Billings.
Now this one, straight up Billings. You can obviously over here see some refineries. There's some of the round buildings going with the refineries, which surround our town. This one is called Hometown View, and I like it. It's got this super dark kind of cliff edge on the left side, and it kind of feels like you're inside a cave or right around, kind of poking your head, jutting around a corner of a trail, and then you're looking out across the Yellowstone River. And you can see out into the Pryors there maybe. And you know, I love this sky. It's just a white sky, which is what the sky does look like sometimes, you know, just there ain't no blue in there some days.
Yeah, and it seems like he's up above town a little bit, maybe part way up the rims.
Yeah.
That's why it looks like he's peeking out, and you see the distance from the size of these buildings and the river. What was the title of that one again?
The title of that one is called Hometown View, and it's $125.
Hometown View.
Over here to the left. Now this one I think is more fanciful. I don't know if there is a place on the rims that looks just like this. This kind of maybe there is. Hank was inside some hole in the ground. And this looks pretty subterranean, pretty psychedelic. You're down in the caves. You're trying to fight your way back up to civilization.
Before the cave people emerge.
Yes,
right
most
before
definitely,
they
Mary.
emerge.
You're hanging out with Shane DeLeon and Mary Serby here today as we walk through Hank Williams Fuller. This piece right here she's focused in on is called Study in Acrylic, and it is $150.
Ooh, we got a heart for that one.
Yeah.
Heart for Hank.
Hearts for Hank.
And this very psychedelic, it's probably the most psychedelic piece of his there is right now. It's 2D.
So we have about 3 more paintings in this style, but before we do that, why don't we come down and check out this snake down here. This is an early piece Hank brought in. He's also a woodworker, as I said, mentioning the frames. Now this is called Moon Snake. You can see obviously it's a piece of wood, all gnarled and found on the side of the road or some trail out in nature, and he has sanded it down, he's painted it, he's turned it into a snake, and he's also mounted it on a rock down at the bottom. There's the planet Earth is in there, and we also have the moon. And I find this to be just such a steal. It's $125. It's a great piece of art.
Rossco just jumped on.
Yeah, Rossco. We're about to look at some Rossco paintings. So I just love Hank's work. He's got a real fanciful mind. You know, he's seeing faces out there. He's seeing things in other things.
Krista says Moon Snake is very good.
Yeah.
And Chris Martin made it also.
So now we're going to look up again at some more of Hank's paintings. When Mary's done there,
There's
let
a
her
lot
take
to
her
take
time.
in on this 3D
I love
piece.
this tongue is so fragile. This little forked red tongue sticks out.
But I love how he's taken the grain of the wood and he's interspersed this with really subtle transitions of painting so that you see the skin of the snake and you also see the grain of the wood. And I think that he just has a really good sense of when to add that painting and
Yeah,
what
it's
works
not there
best.
on the whole time.
No, for a lot of this snake, it's just the grain of the wood. But then you see him kind of transition in on the head here. You can see the head a little bit more. All right, so now...
Let's come up a little bit and look at this painting. Cleft for Me. Looks like we have 2 big sandstone rocks there with a tree or a bramble coming up through the middle. Totally beautiful. I love this blue in the sky. It's so vibrant. It just pops out of there. I don't know if you can see that on your computer or on your phone where you're watching this, but the blue is just spectacular. It's brilliant. Cerulean, maybe.
Out of there. We've got a lot of light reflection in this one, but I'm trying my best to let you see through.
I'm sorry, but
frame.
it does not come with the light reflecting off the glass in the purchase sale. You'll have to provide your own reflecting
You get
light.
the painting, you get the frame, but you don't get the light show.
So one thing we're going to do today, after we look at some Rossco paintings here next, is we're going to do our drawing. For the last 2 weeks, we've been talking about doing a drawing. So anybody who has donated or purchased from Kirks Grocery in the last 2 weeks, their name has been entered in a drawing. And we will be auctioning or drawing for a Stephen Gluckert book today with an original drawing on the cover that was from his show at the Missoula Art Museum called All Mixed Up.
Yeah, so see if you're going to win. It's coming up soon.
And along with that, if you today purchase anything or if you donate to us at Venmo at Kirks Grocery or PayPal, kirksgrocery@gmail.com, we will enter your name in a drawing and we will get to what you will be winning.
There'll be another drawing, another raffle, a second one?
Well, not a raffle today. The first one we will do, we will show the item that you could win next week if you tune in next Friday.
Oh. Nice clarification.
Yes. Let's go turn around and look at some more of Hank's paintings here.
And
We looked at Cleft for Me. A lot of these are the same colors. We have our yellows, ochres, browns. This one has that beautiful blue up top I was talking about, some oranges.
and they're the colors of the rims here in Billings.
This
They
is
are the
Billings.
colors.
If you've never been to Billings, you want to feel what it's like to be here, Hank Williams Fuller's paintings really get you there.
Yeah. It's not quite as spooky, or is it? That's for you to
That's just a
decide.
weird face right there you're focused in on. This one is called Sandstone and Brambles by Hank Williams Fuller. This is $125. And these paintings right here that she's focused in are, I would say, I don't have my measuring stick on me, I'd say they're about a foot. They're about 12 inches by 12 inches. The larger ones on the way back were about 18 inches. The ones that were a little more expensive, Driftin' and Driftin', and Sandstone Swirl. But all these are about a foot by a foot. They're $125 each. And yeah, right now we're looking at Cleft for Me.
Cleft for Me.
Do want to say, make sure to go look at kirksgrocery.com. We've put in a lot of hours this week on getting all our art up there. It's starting to really come together. If there's any artist that we do represent or that we carry their work, you can click right on it. You can purchase it at the website. We have it so you can just click a button and you can purchase that.
And
we
has
will
your
ship it right to you. We've had some orders from Manhattan. Word up, Manhattan! That we shipped off today. That was pretty good.
And is everything up online, or is the webmaster still loading up images?
I didn't look today, but he has been working his ass off. So I would have bet that a lot of this might be online. I can't say. Next week, I think we're going to be good to say everything's online. Takes time, my friends.
Yep, everything was photographed.
Let's go up to this last painting we're going to be looking at today.
I think you should hold the camera on this because
Okay.
it's a little high for my arms.
Okay. So this one is called Mysterious Symbols. And as I said, you look at Hank's work, and he's got all these kind of faces and stuff going along with it.
What's interesting about that one is that it doesn't have the blues. The sky is painted with the same dusty kind of earth tones, those rocks with it's not really a sienna, but sort of a beige, warm kind of tone. And the sky has this bright pop of yellow in there. And that's what really pulls it together, the way the blue pulls it together for the other pieces.
Cool. Let's look at the last piece we'll be looking at today by Hank Williams Fuller. This is called iBox, and it is a sculpture. It is $100, which is just a steal. First, we have a box here on all sides. He's got some
Let me
eyes.
get it a little closer because it's not focused yet. There's the eyes.
He's got eyes going all the way around.
A little bit of an M.C. Escher kind of optical illusion kind of thing there.
And what I like is if you look at this is a large version of this eye, but every single eye on this is just a smaller version of that picture. So that picture is shown over and over and over on this box. And then when you open it up, we get more eyes on the inside. And then this awesome little cube here.
Yeah.
Roll the die. Find an eye.
And I love the way Hank has a few pieces that we've seen where he combines it. He takes the the rendering, the drawing. He takes his skill at woodworking. And then not only does he combine drawing and woodworking together by creating the box, but he also adds the die of eyes that he's cast inside the box. And what was the name of this one again?
iBox.
iBox. And we have Anna Page. She says, "What's up, you fantastic folks?"
Yo, Anna Page. After we're done here, you can click over to Anna Page. She'll be on Zoom performing tonight through...
You can find that event on Facebook.
Maybe it was called like Visual Portland. Maybe she can post that on there.
Yeah, and if you comment, we will share with the world. We have 17 viewers right now. Thanks to everybody who's viewing, because we love having you here for another Friday night episode of Live at Kirks.
And you know what? We're done looking at Hank Williams Fuller work, and we are going to move on to a great painter here in Billings.
Wait, there's more?
There is more. Thank you. Let's start right here. This, hot off the presses, brand new, just came in the doors this week from Rossco. All the Rossco paintings we will be looking at today are 4 feet by 4 feet. He has raised his price now. You know, we've been selling his artwork, and he's been also really focusing on how to get his artwork presented in the best way possible for him. This one here is called Giants Boys de Buffet, and it's $800. And I just love this. He paints with acrylic. Then he has this just incredible draftsmanship, just beautiful technique of drawing these pencil lines. You know, he's so sure of his line, but he also lets it falter, which I really love because it's just so nice. His backgrounds are always just filled with color, shapes, scribbles, drips. Over and over, you can see that he just works in layers. And the more we see of his, we see that he often pays homage to great artists that have inspired him, or maybe people he loves, or just inspirations. But he just captures these people so great.
And this is the artist Joseph Beuys.
Joseph Beuys.
B-E-U-I-S.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic artist who locked himself in a gallery with a live coyote back in the day. And Jean de Buffet, who is a master of, why am I freezing up? Not outsider art, but Art Brut?
Yep.
Art Brut. So there's your art history lesson for today.
One of the first people to start pushing outsider artists into the mainstream. Mm-hmm. Really supportive of that movement of art. Rossco did tell me what Apollo stood for, and oh, I know. So not only is this referencing de Buffet and Beuys, this also is referencing Cy Twombly. Some of the top works here, he's trying to reference Cy Twombly's line, and he told me that the word Apollo is often in Cy Twombly's work or appeared in it multiple times. So Rossco's right out there pushing his inspirations. There's so much texture and detail and color. These are just beautiful, expressionistic pieces of art. Rossco, you know, he's kind of a mystery. He's kind of like Billings Banksy. We don't know a lot about him. He shows up, he attacks, he leaves. Usually there's a dead rabbit. Nah, I'm joking on that one.
But he is watching right now, so he can choose to reveal mysteries if he'd like.
So yeah, this is one of his newest paintings. These are $800. And what I do want to say about these newest pieces is he paints these on board. And then now what he's doing is he mounts this to a canvas. So this board mounted on canvas. Some of his older works have warped over time because he saturates this wood so much with paint. They just start to warp. So we have sold some. They're a little warped. So he's been working on his
come around the side and
technique. On how to build these, and I think he's come across a great way to work. They're solid, they're going to hang flat on your wall, and yeah. Let's go down.
All right, we go down here?
Hey, licking.
Or we can go...
Oh, let's look at another new Rossco.
Light right on this.
Look at these colors. Pink. Blue, I love this one. There's so much space in this Rossco. A lot of times, you know, there's a lot of busyness. There's some space to let your eye rest, to find a little solace here with our good friend Bukowski as we smoke a cigarette with him or maybe a spliff.
Alex Nauman has joined us, and Krista McNamee said she finds Rossco's work compelling.
Yeah, Rossco's work is compelling.
Very
I love how he's always working with abstract shapes in there. You know, he's working with figurative drawing as well as expressing himself. You know, he's not concerned about painting these artist portraits. He's not, you know, he's an artist. He's letting it flow. He's taking that inspiration and he's just letting it happen.
Yeah, and I like that combination of really abstract, really loose gestural painting and just much more representational work, but that still has that looseness, still has that fantastic line. I mean, look at the hair here. Look at the halo around Charles Bukowski. One of my personal heroes. Uh-oh.
He won't stop, can't stop, won't stop. It's like Miley Cyrus over here.
Our last tour, LB was very excited about Gordon McConnell's work. This time, it's Rossco who inspires LB. Trivia facts.
So let's go to the right after you're done looking at this one. You can see it says High Times on there. I like down in the corner, hashtag.
We're way down here.
He always has a great
the
way.
fuck is
A lot of times he's signing it with suns, rising suns.
Don't let me step on the dog.
No, he's busy packing.
Okay, on to the next Rossco.
Let's look at this
You ready,
self-portrait.
LB? Yes.
So as I said, he might be Billings Banksy, but if you study this painting, you might be able to figure out what his face looks like, find him on the street.
Sandy Davarskas just joined us, and Anna Page said, good taste in Rossco's, LB.
Oh,
Because Rossco often portrays rule breakers, LB has been inspired to break the rules of behavior on these tours. So Shane said this is a self-portrait created by Rossco. I like these pieces because you can kind of see more outlined shapes as opposed to just line work and loose work with the paint. So you see his knowledge of the body, and he's almost broken it down into shapes that remind me a little bit of Basquiat. Rossco's always making a lot of references to art history, I think to art that inspires him. Day-old ideas, half off.
Though we aren't selling this at half off today. But this is an older piece. If you have been listening, the last two we looked at were his new style, where he's mounting board onto canvas. This, he had built a frame, and what is great about this is he incorporated the frame right into the painting. We even have collage work kind of going over the top with some tape.
I love to work with tape too.
So, you know, it is nice that he built that frame in there, but this is actually a fairly warped piece, and he's been honing his techniques on how to get that. But you know, there's nothing wrong with the warped piece of art, because look at all this texture, look at all these blue drops. I'm sure this thing was just saturated with color and wet.
Well, and also, I mean, there was a point in the mid-20th century when artists said, hey, you know, we don't need to create a perfect canvas. It doesn't have to be so perfectly stretched and sanded. That's also around the time that other artists said, no, it does. But that's how life is. All right.
We're going to look at one more Rossco, and then we're going to take a break and do our drawing. Ooh. Look at one more Rossco here, then we're going to draw for a Stephen Gluckert book, which if you have bought or donated anything to Kirks Grocery on Venmo or PayPal, or your name is going to be in this drawing. We're going to push out a Stephen Gluckert book, and then, as I mentioned earlier, if you donate today or buy anything, we will put your name in a drawing for next week, where we'll show you in a sec what we'll be giving away.
And Hank Fuller has joined us.
Well, Hank,
anyone who's been watching, Hank Fuller, the artist we saw earlier.
You might want to go back and watch the awesome piece we did on you, Hank. Welcome.
After watching us live.
After watching us live. Last one we're going to look at in this room is called Bill and Marvin Hanging Out.
We featured this a little bit last week, too.
Yep. We talked about it. It has William Burroughs in there, a poet, American rebel free thinker. We got his wife's name, Joan, is on there. We learned last week from a call-in of John Lodge that Joan was his wife, and one time he tried to shoot an apple off her head and accidentally shot her.
So there's a lesson. It's a lesson about relationships, lesson about trust, and a lesson about marksmanship.
Me and Mary have been practicing, and in a couple weeks I will be shooting an apple off of her head.
But
that would be great.
Don't tell Shane's dad, because he's a hunter safety trainer, so we're not going to talk about that. Yep, and I love how this is so, it applies very much to what's going on right now. Germs, never thought about germs so much in my life, and violent illegal alien, which we hear in the media more and more this decade.
And of course, this is Marvin the Martian from the old Looney Tunes.
And then you can see, I like how it almost looks like it's been painted with chalk on a chalkboard at certain points.
Yeah.
Which I really like that kind of approach. You can see there are many colors in here when you zoom on in on Marvin the Martian. Jane Wagner Deschner says, it happened in Mexico. William S. Burroughs, when he accidentally killed his wife, shooting an apple off of her head, that happened in Mexico. Which wife, says Sandy? I don't know. We're going to have to let Jane Deschner answer that.
I'm going to say Joan.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. It would be Joan, I believe.
Yeah, John did that for us last week. Jane, if she's watching, every year she likes to send out a Junkie's Christmas prayer. I think it's something called similar to that. She's always pushing William S. Burroughs at Christmas time. What time is it, folks? We're about halfway through our tour. We are going to do our drawing from the last 2 weeks.
Woo! Time!
We are giving off this beautiful Stephen Gluckert book.
And every single catalog is unique.
They all have been put on a drawing machine. This book was designed by local John Lodge. He came up with this
master printer,
figured it all out.
Let's see how it's signed in the front too.
Oh yeah, it's signed in the front. This is book number 210 of 500. We are about to do a drawing for this book. This was published by the Missoula Art Museum. Yep. This show was also at the Yellowstone Art Museum. And we sold a few Gluckerts today. We sold the Toll Painter painting, and we also sold the Drinking with Irishmen painting today. We actually had a really good day on sales.
Oh,
so thanks out there.
Now, everybody, hold your breath. Hold your breath. I know
you don't
anyone.
Want to look in there because we see people's names.
Anyone who's donated, anyone who has purchased anything. Not only are you lucky enough to have that piece of art in your life, or the contentment of being part of Kirks, but you may also win a catalog.
Should we look?
Now. I'm going to just tap my foot.
Sean Chandler.
Sean Chandler, artist.
Lives in northern Montana.
Excellent artist.
He will be showing work here later in the year, so we are really happy. He purchased 2 weeks ago a cup by Sandy Dvarskas.
Yes, he did.
And that is how Sean Chandler, who spent $40 on a coffee cup, won a $30 catalog.
That's right, Sean Chandler. It's your lucky day. I don't think you're watching, but could be that you are, and I just
we will let you know. So now you're wondering, before we continue with our tour.
Well, one thing you might be wondering is, did Jane Deschner's son meet William Burroughs about 6 months before he died? Yes.
John Deschner did?
Yes.
That would be wonderful.
That
I believe
is
she told
true.
me that story.
Yes.
Yeah. Jane, you could type that up and let all the people read it if you'd like. John Deschner, he's out there in Manhattan now.
Manhattan, Kansas, Manhattan, Montana.
Manhattan, Montana, most definitely working for Condé Nast Publishing. No, he's out there. So, what are we giving away next week? It's drawing any donations or any purchases today. Get your name in for a keg drawn by me. I used to deliver beer in Portland, Oregon for Point Blank Distributing. And I did an art show where I drew 99 different bottles of beer, referencing 99 bottles of beer on the wall. And I made a bunch of kegs. Now, what are the kegs made out of? They're made out of my handwritten notes, which I like to do, from when I would order beer. So I'd be in a supermarket, and I'd be like, oh, they want an IPA or I can't even read all that because it's ripped up, but Maui Brewing, Coconut Porter, 21st Amendment, Watermelon Wheat,
Yep,
Boulder Brewing, Hazard.
Nice.
And so these are little kegs. You can see where you would see where you would punch your party pump right there at the top. These are made with recycled cardboard and ripped up paper and some paint and some glitter. And I decided to call it a keg. So we will be giving this away next week. Any donations or purchases today, you get your name in that drawing.
Woo! Yes.
We do have one more piece we're going to look at by Rossco, and then we are going to move on to looking at Renee Audette's work, which is our final artist we're looking at tonight.
And hold on for Renee Audette, because it's great work that's new and great work that's older from when she had access to a kiln.
Yes, we are going to look at some work that's never been seen here before at Kirks. She dropped some new work off today, just like Rossco dropped some stuff off this week. But the last painting we're looking at is a Rossco that has been here for 4 months.
Ooh.
We are surprised it stayed around so long. Sometimes Rossco's work moves rather quickly. This one is called Royalty.
I think of it as 1980s royalty.
Yeah.
Because we've got Debbie here.
Debbie Harry over here on the left. Blondie.
And this I think of as Debbie at the height of her popularity, even though she may not find this to be, you know, perhaps what her teeth looked like at the time. But I really like this image of Debbie Harry. I'm sorry, everybody, I can't back too far away from it. I'm trying to get all of Debbie in, and I may not be able to get the whole painting in at one time, but Debbie is here with Iggy Pop as well.
That is Iggy Pop, next to the word Pop Rocks. Some of the other words on this painting include the words blank offender. It says royalty on there. CBGB's legendary New York rock and roll punk club. What did it stand for? Country, bluegrass, and blues. I learned that through this painting. I did not know that.
Never knew that.
So not only is Rossco an artist, he is an art educator. He's out here showing us the history of art and the history of rock and roll as well.
Let me see if
Pop
I can
culture,
get this
modern
whole thing.
culture.
It's a little bit at an angle, but now you can see the whole piece.
Now this piece is also $600. This is an older Rossco. The new two are $800. This is when he was still perfecting his technique of getting the canvases or the framing not to warp. His new ones are not warped. This has a slight warp on the side. At the bottom, sticks off about maybe 2 inches from the wall.
But again, it just makes it a little bit more badass when you're kicking back, looking at Debbie Harry and Iggy Pop. Hello to Eric Koznowski from New Jersey.
So this is the last piece we're looking at by Rossco. We've looked at work by Hank Williams Fuller. We've looked at work by Rossco, 2 Billings residents. And now we're going to look at work by our great friend. She's been with us since day one. Renee Audette. We met her at the Yellowstone Art Museum where she was the artist in residence over there.
Not silenced before he sets up. I'm sorry about that. Battered box on the wall. There is the other.
So inside there we can see a figure up front. Renee does work. She's a figurative artist who creates emotional, narrative sculptures and paintings relating to the human psychology and her personal experiences. She received her BFA from the University of Wyoming in 2000 and her MFA from the University of Florida in 2005. She exhibits her work both nationally and internationally and has been published in several books and art journals. Her work is featured in permanent art collections throughout the United States and also in China. She was featured as the Emerging Talent in May 2007 edition of Ceramics Monthly. She was also recipient of the Archie Bray Lincoln Fellowship from 2007 to 2009.
Archie Bray is very, very prestigious.
And spent those 2 years as a resident artist at the Archie Bray Foundation for the Ceramic Arts. In November 2017, Renee was awarded a year-long residency at the Yellowstone Art Museum. And she had the wonderful experience of teaching an art class at the women's prison in 2018 and 19.
She did a fantastic job at the women's prison.
Currently, Renee is a studio artist, substitute teacher, and loves being a part-time instructor at MSUB.
Montana
Renee is
State
also
University
a
Billings.
very, when the doors are open, regular here, and she was here yesterday. even despite this virus when she was hanging her show. It was the first time we'd really hung out in a month, and it was just wonderful to see her. I love Renee. I love Nicholas, her husband. And this is some of her sculptural work. This one's called The Other. It is $400. Great deal.
Great mixed media
Like all
piece.
of Renee's work, it is a steal.
And you can see that she's inlaid, kind of found, I'm not sure if those are children's books, advertisements, various kind of flat collage elements. It's glossy in there, which may be hard to see. That third head back there is flat, is collaged in. And then who is the other? I feel like that's what Renee's always asking. In this piece, who is the primary and who is the other? And shout out to Philip K. Dick, if anybody likes Philip K. Dick. Who is the original and who is the copy? All right, and what's right here below it, Shane?
Right below it, we have one of her mixed media pieces.
2D.
It is called The Neighborhood. It is $160. And it looks like we have a character, a boy, one of her big wide-eyed characters that she loves to draw. A lot of her paintings today we will see have large eyes on them. You know, to me, it's called The Neighborhood. It's kind of like, whoop, there goes the neighborhood. We see a nice house surrounded by stinking, filthing apartment complexes or factories or whatever she's telling us.
The filthing of industrial pollution.
Along with a cute little pink car, some very cute pink flowers. This is from 2019. And it looks to be paper and card mounted on board.
And I think Renee's 2D pieces, especially with the people and animals with the big eyes, they always have this mix of kind of playful happiness and something a little more bleak. Well, hey, Shane.
Oh, hey, what's going on? I was just hanging out in the kitchen here. I had a great pizza from Local earlier tonight. We ordered some food from Local. That was good.
Yeah, picked it up in a safe social distancing way.
Yeah. Anyways, we're going to move along here, and we have the cutest kitty in the world. Oh, they kind of stand in front of the lights. So
It's a little hard, you know. Lighting can be an issue here at Kirks sometimes. Now there's a little glare off the cutest kitty in the world to that way. I'm moving my head so Shane knows which way I mean. Yeah, I think that's okay. There's a little bit of a glare. It's not quite so bright in real life. There we go. You can see this side is the same as the other.
He's called the cutest kitty in the world because it's a very
world.
cute kitty. Its eyes are so big, it's got 2 glare spots.
And then you can see almost this cheetah pattern behind this very domesticated looking kitty right here. What was the price of this one, Shane?
This is $150, as is the one right below it called Best Friends.
Ooh, let's take a look below it. Oh no, don't worry everybody. We'll get back to these guys. Best Friends.
Looks like we have a couple cats or maybe a guinea pig and a cat. I don't know.
Personal fact about Renee Audette is that she owns guinea pigs.
And she likes to wear fuzzy hats.
She likes to wear fuzzy hats, and also I believe she has a little guinea pig habitat, but she likes it when they can run free. She likes them to have the freedom.
I like Renee's backgrounds. You know, we were looking at Rossco's backgrounds, how textured they were, how layered they were. A lot of times Renee works on the complete opposite end of that, being very graphic. A lot of times it seems she uses stencils. She'll lay down a color and then stencil shapes over the top. You know, and that one above it, which was the cutest kitty in the world, she had painted ovals and circles.
A lot of repetition up here.
So her backgrounds are more graphic, I would say, than Rossco's, who are a lot looser, more layered. And then surrounding these 2 paintings, Renee last year did a series of these things, these creatures called assorted animal friends. Mary's going to walk you through them.
That's right. This turtle, yes, of course this turtle's badass. How much are our assorted animal friends by Renee Audette?
They are $40 each.
$40.
And the material she uses for her 3D work is a material called polyclay. Now, we mentioned when we were talking about Renee that she had been to the Archie Bray, and she has some masterworks that are kiln-fired ceramics. But now that she is not a resident up there and she does not own her own kiln, she started working with smaller figures. She started working with
clays that she can bake herself without having access to a kiln.
Yeah.
She was working on these when she was the artist in residence at the Yellowstone Art Museum and afterwards, I believe, if I remember.
17.
Yeah.
And they are $40 each.
That's right.
We're doing a bonus
That's
today
an
just
elephant.
because I like you guys for turning in. We're going to do 2 for $75.
Two
Look at
for
that.
75.
Save $5.
2 for
Go buy yourself some
75.
ice cream while you stare at your cute little animal friends.
The cuteness is pretty intense.
I like all their checkerboarded half shirts, but they're like on the side half shirts. They're not up and down.
I like this one because it's kind of, you know, at first you think, oh, they didn't hang it up straight, but it just has this kind of little bit of an almost 45-degree angle. It's kind of jauntiness that they have. And actually, like Shane said earlier, Renee came in yesterday practicing judicious social distancing here and hung them on the wall in a flattering way. To me, this is a good example of how I said that she has pieces that are kind of over the top with cuteness, but also bleak. And here's the last piece in this series. But wait, is there more, Shane?
There is going to be more. Next up, we're going to look at a triptych.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
We're going to look at a triptych.
We're going to look at a triptych. This is called Red Balloons. This is brand new. I believe this was finished last week. It's called Red Balloons. It is 3 small canvases. I would say they are about, 4 inches across by 6 inches.
Or not even. I would say maybe 3 by 5 even.
3 by 5. But she does go outside the lines. You're not going to be able to frame these unless you put them on a background because
Floating frame.
Yeah, floating frame, because these balloons are sticking off of the page.
Got some hearts on this one.
This one's called Red Balloons. It's from 2020. They are $30 each, or you can buy all 3 for $80.
All 3 for $80.
I think Mary was saying she thought this was the Beatles or something.
There's something about this, you know, it reminds me of early Beatles. They kind of were dressing this way, like this gentleman on the right here. So for some reason, it reminds me of the Beatles interspersed with their friends from before the super fame hit them.
Make sure to stick with us. We have about 10 more minutes left. We're trying to figure out this. We are always open for comments. We had some great comments come in from Christopher Manhattan to make sure that we always tell the price, the name, try to reference the size. Once again, you can go to kirksgrocery.com. I know pretty much all of Renee's work is up there except the work she brought in yesterday, but there's a bunch of Renee's work.
And her name is Renee, Audettete. She's the first one if you check alphabetically.
And this is called Mutant Guinea Pig.
Mutant Guinea Pig.
It is the most expensive piece we have by Renee Audette at $550. It comes on this box, this collaged box she has built.
I'm going to zoom in on the little feet so you can see that, as we said, Renee, as a sculptor and as a ceramic artist, she has this ability. Now, the camera doesn't have an ability to focus that well in this spot, but Renee, in real life, has the ability to create the feet of the guinea pig, those wrinkles around the ears. If you take a look at the eyes, you know, and this is before her 2D work with the kind of super large, super cute eyes. So you kind of get to see different treatments of eyes by Renee Audette. The wrinkling of the skin.
And this is also made with poly clay. And I believe she said this is about as large of a creature as she can build with this material, which does not need to be fired in a kiln. So, you know, as an artist, a lot of times your materials define your sizing. They define a lot about what you can make, how you can make it.
Yeah. If you have access to a kiln, if you have access to a printing press, those types of things impact artists and can change their practice.
Okay. We We got just a few pieces left. We're gonna look at these really small frog and rabbit. These are $30 each. These come from her Real and Imagined Creature series that she dropped off, I would say almost 8 months ago. And she maybe dropped off 10, and these are the final 2. They are Real and Imagined Creatures. They are $30 each. They're super cute. They make any child happy. So if during this COVID, you're out there and you're getting busy and maybe gonna have some babies, then maybe you need some presents for those babies.
Yeah, I think that's a great stream of logic there, Shane. That makes a lot of sense. And also, when Renee was working in the Montana Women's Prison, she worked with this material because it's something she could bring in to work with the women who take the art classes, and it inspired her to make a few pieces of her own that weren't for teaching purposes.
The next piece we're going to look at is called Sphinx. And this is my absolute favorite piece by Renee Audette that we have in the building until a piece we will look at in a couple minutes that has now become my favorite.
The hearts are already coming up.
This is called Sphinx. It is gorgeous. It's $375. It is so much like a hairless cat. It is meowing at me. And it's mounted on this little box with the snap and some lace. It's so delicate. It's so gorgeous. It's so Victorian and so modern. I love this piece so much. It might end up in my home, unless, of course, you buy it today. And this has been my favorite piece from Renee for quite a while. But we're going to look at a piece 4 pieces from now, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be my favorite Renee.
And a lot of people will say to themselves, gee, I wish I could have a hairless cat. I wish I could be the kind of person who owns one and who tells others about my hairless cat. If you buy Renee Audette's piece, you don't have to worry about maintenance. You just get to have all the joy and the classiness and the glory of having a hairless cat. That's all yours. We've got Keith Martinez or Zenitram Jr. watching.
Upfresh Media, our web designer, webmaster. KirksGrocery.com. I've been telling you to go there all day. Make sure to check it out. Most of this art is there now. All of it will be there by next week.
Okay. Now, from Sphinxy Cat.
Now we're going to go to some pieces. That are called Orange Ducks.
Orange Ducks.
These are from 2007. They are $70 each. I love these. They kind of remind me of Sneetches. They got these little stars on them.
Jody Lightner says, great commentary.
They are ceramic? Yeah.
Yeah, these are ceramic. I'm pretty sure she fired these pieces, although I don't know much about any other detail to that.
I don't either. We didn't ask her. Once again, we can look at her eyes. She's still in those eyes doing the 2 dots. I love this, making the eyes look a little more glazed out.
And you really see that transition, from these pieces to the cat with no hair, to the 2-dimensional pieces. The gaze of the work of Renee Audette, when they look into your eyes, what is Renee telling us? Wow, this is a fantastic angle. Nice job.
Quackback.
Quackback.
You could get online and listen to John Lodge and Shane DeLeon's song Quackback while you looked at these ducks. That would be a fun night.
That'd be a fun night. We could also TikTok this with the Quackback as the music. Yeah.
All right, everybody. We are moving in on the last corner of today's art tour.
The
last corner. We are in the dining gallery that last month featured Ellen Marie Kuntz's work, but today is featuring Renee Audette.
Oh, Renee Audette. When I work at the Yellowstone Art Museum, I remember when she was creating these pieces as artist in residence at the museum. What I love is that you have these porcelain doll heads and the soft body. But let's see if I can get the camera to show you.
There's like a little nest in there.
And the bird emerges. And then you might be looking right now and saying, I don't understand what's going on. And it's Shane's job not to let me knock over things behind me. You might say, I don't even understand what's going on. Is this 2D? Is this 3D? It's mixed media, but what is mixing? There's so much detail on this piece. So this is more collage back here. And I've heard Renee speak quite eloquently about her life, about issues in her life, about why you often see twins in her work. We saw the mutant guinea pig had conjoined twins. There are twins here. When we looked at the other, we saw that gray figure behind the figure in the front of the piece. Renee has a lot of themes that you see over and over and over again, even when the medium that she uses to create the work may change. I love that we've got some organs here. So you may say, oh, well, you know, this is three-dimensional and the rest of the piece is 2D, but no. If I come in right here, this is also, see how high up I can get. This is also a 3D aspect of the piece. And let me show it to you from the side.
Yeah, we got some comments. Jody Leitner, great commentary. Connie Jens, great job, guys. Gerald K. That's Gerald Kinsfather. Join us next Friday as we go through Gerald Kinsfather's sketchbooks. We're going to spend about a half hour looking at his master lines. And I think we are going to match him up with Brian Keith Scott.
Oh, that'd be nice.
We're going to do a great look at Brian Keith Scott's sculptures and Gerald Kinsfather's drawings next Friday.
Did you give the title and the price? I was so busy trying to capture.
I have not gotten there yet, no. You were talking. This is called Remembering Illinois. It's from 2017, and it is $450.
And I lived in Chicago, and when I remember Chicago, this is exactly what I imagine.
Organs.
Okay? If you haven't lived in Chicago, you just don't get it. All right, Shane, what's next? Oh.
So as I said,
let's go down here.
The Sphinx had been my favorite Renee Audette piece in the house, but this showed up last night, and I'm going to say this is my favorite Renee Audette in the house. This is from...
Krista says, thanks for showing us the side of the last piece. Well, Krista.
2012. This is $250, and this looks to me like she found many figurines, ceramic porcelain figurines, possibly at a thrift store, maybe her grandma, I don't know where she got them, and she has smashed them all and somehow attached them all together into this humanoid animal shape made of body parts and ceramics.
And I believe I've heard Renee talk about how when she was at the Archie Bray and she had access to a lot of kilns. I think part of this had to do with found objects that she would recast some of them.
Oh yeah, she did.
So there's been some recasting or some maybe original pieces. Keith Martinez says you should keep doing this show even past the quarantine. Thank you, Keith. Let's take another look underneath at this great piece by Renee Audette.
That's a steal, $250. If you don't buy it, people, I'm going to get my name in the drawing, and then I'm going to win my own cake sculpture back. So make sure to buy something today and get in that. Because we're going to meet up here next week, as I said, and look at Brian Keith Scott and Gerald Kinsfather's artwork. But this is Renee Audette, reconstruction from 2012, $250.
Very tricky to film, but I'm trying to do my best to show you exactly how glorious and beautiful and complex. See the small foot that sticks out there? Like a little Victorian chap. Here she is. All right, Shane, what's up next?
Next up, we have 6 more pieces we are going to look at by Renee Audette. Why don't we start right in front of you with Eat Us. Now this is a diptych. This is 2 pieces. They come together as one price. These are from 2020, this year. Eat Us. They are $90. Looks like we have an orange, maybe a satsuma. That's my favorite type of citrus. And then an apple.
Orange, you glad that you chose an apple?
Orange, you glad I didn't say banana?
There's so many puns. You could just pun away if you buy this piece and bring it into your own home.
I could see this going in that same baby's room we were talking about earlier. Those people who are going to have a baby in 9 months because this COVID's making them real frisky. So this is something else you could put in the baby's room. Look at that.
Yep. There it is.
So yeah, once again, these paintings are all acrylic or mixed media with paper mounted on board. And these are all under $100, these last pieces. This diptych right here is $90.
90.
We're gonna move up, and this one is called Kids and Their Monsters. This is $60. She looks like she has a background that she spray painted, some texture, and we already talked about her graphic design backgrounds. This looks like she had some stencils from taking numbers out of something, and somehow she was spray painting and stenciling those.
There is a point where local art celebrity Sally McIntosh did give her some items that she used for backgrounds. I'm not sure if she did in this piece or not, but let's just shout out to Sally McIntosh because Sally McIntosh is amazing. And she's my neighbor. All right. And here you can really see kind of the card that's adhered to the canvas too. Or maybe you can. I'm trying to make that visible to y'all.
I do want to let anybody that's watching know, if you want your friends to see this, this will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. So you can watch this again at Kirks Grocery on YouTube, and you can also watch last week's where we went through Curate Instigate. Gordon McConnell, Sandy Devarshkis, and Stephen Gluckert. That's right.
It'll also be up on Facebook. Oh, thank you. It says delightful tour YouTube from Betty and Gordon. Also, LB's back in the mix. It's almost time for his dinner.
All right,
then.
we got less than 5 minutes, folks. Thanks for sticking with us for so long.
Oh, this is so topical.
Oh, no, this came from her series. I forget what the series was called, but it was all like advice for children. One of them being don't drink cleaning products. This is $55. It looks like we have a girl on her way out. She's got some X'd out eyes. Says bad idea. She's drinking bleach.
Yeah. And it really speaks to the world today. I remember when Renee first made this, and it didn't have nearly the weight that it does today. Everyone's scrambling for bleach. Everybody's scrambling to disinfect. But don't drink it. That's a bad idea. All right. And the final three, which are brand new, is that right?
These are brand new. I believe these could have been done in the last week or two. These are some small pieces from 2020. This one is called Moths, not butterflies.
Are they butterflies?
No, it's called Moths, not butterflies.
No.
Well, who's on first?
That's right. We've got some witty witticisms going on today.
Once again, this looks like this is paper. Looks like she painted them on paper, cut them out, and then mounted them to the board, which is a technique she uses a lot.
Yeah, it is hard to capture with video, though.
Are like that. We're going to look at the next one.
The next one is
birds. We got 3 birds here. This is $50. A steal. Man,
yeah.
This baby room is going to be beautiful.
Well, I love the way the background has a subtle glow to it. You know, almost like you would use as an underpainting in a landscape. And then these really graphic, I'm going to say mostly red birds. And the way they really stand out against the background. And the expressions that they have. You know, somewhat serious. Somewhat wistful. Which is often wistful. I think that word often comes up when I'm looking at Renee's work.
And the final painting we'll be looking at today, and the final painting by Renee Audette, is just called... Did we write it down?
We did write it down, I thought.
I bet it's called Flower.
I think we did write this one down.
I don't see it on here.
It's on there somewhere, I think.
Birds. Never trust a flower.
Never trust a flower.
There it is.
Which
$50
one do you not trust?
From 2020.
Never trust a flower.
Renee Audette. I know Renee's lost most of her employment. She's been making tons of art. And that is why we hit her up to send some art in here today. If you could help her out, us out, we would love some sales. You can check us out on kirksgrocery.com, where we are working hard every day to get all of our work up there. You can purchase it directly through the site. We will ship it to you, and it'll arrive at your home. You can also make plans to just pick it up here at Kirks Grocery if you live locally, or we also do delivery. I'm going to give one last plug for Kirks Grocery. Check us out at kirksgrocery.com. Follow us on Facebook at Kirks Grocery, Instagram, Kirks Grocery. If you want to donate today to this tour, on Venmo, you can donate money at Kirks Grocery. You can get on PayPal, and that is kirksgrocery@gmail.com. You can also just drive down to 2920 Minnesota Avenue, drop stacks of cash in the mailbox. I'll get them. Don't mind at all.
Silver dollars.
Silver dollars.
You know, we'll take them.
Silver certificates, $2 bills.
Wow.
I'm into those.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks so much for joining us today. As I have mentioned, next week we will be looking. Let's just walk up there on the way out. One more minute, please.
It's as if you came here tonight, you've had a wonderful evening, and you're walking out of Kirks. When you walk out of Kirks, you often see this dog, and he might jump on you.
Let's look at these red dots as we go down the wall.
And you might notice that since our last
last week, we have sold Toll Painter by Stephen Glucker.
So exciting. This one moves. This one's still up for grabs.
That one's still up for grabs. We've sold that one. And then just today, we sold this Gordon McConnell on the end here. Per qualche dell'oro in più. For a few dollars more. I always like to say it like that because that is from a Lee Scratch Perry record. And he always says it. So yeah, next week we will be digging through these. We will be digging through these, which we did a little bit last week, but there are so many drawings. We will be just setting up a camera on a tripod. I'll be flipping through them. These are going to be $25 each, and we are going to give an option for framing. Don't look at them too long, Mary.
Don't look at them too long. I'm going to ruin
Let's wait till next
week. We have Krista who says, awesome tour, guys. Thank you. We have Rebecca Liebman, one of the coolest cats in Shy City.
She knows Bobby Kahn.
She knows Bobby Kahn.
Check out Bobby Kahn if you haven't heard
Woo!
his music. Woo!
And Monica Boo Boo, she knows. And you have a great day, says Sandy DeVarskas.
We'll see you next week, 7 o'clock. If you have anything, get a hold of us, kirksgrocery@gmail.com, any of the social medias. We love you, people. We'll see you next time.
Okay. Have a good night, everybody. Enjoy this beautiful face on the way out.